Now, I know Reddit is not the place to go looking for opinions because the opinions you find on Reddit are very subjective, and they're very, how do I put this? If you go outside and you actually touch grass and you talk to people, those people won't have the opinions that you see on Reddit. And the opinions you see on Reddit are usually contained within Reddit. But this is kind of something that I've seen outside of Reddit, and that's also why I'm talking about it. So basically, what am I talking about? Asmongold. Now, Asmongold, obviously a controversial guy, but I've been watching Asmongold for quite a while, and I am on his subreddit, r/Asmongold. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about him is because I constantly see users on his subreddit posting screenshots of very left-leaning groups, or rather subreddits, kind of really going against him, like his whole like brand and identity. Like for example, like just now, like 6 hours ago, a guy posted where some person saw that their 17-year-old brother was watching an Asmongold video, and now and they're like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like what do I do? How do I teach them that watching Asmongold videos is wrong? What should I do? Or you constantly see like, oh, you get banned from the subreddit. Okay, why did I get banned? Well, you got banned because you follow r/Asmongold. Basically, a lot of subreddits like gaming slash r/gaming circle jerk, and for example, this subreddit saltier than crate, something like that. Basically, all of these like left-leaning subreddits are filled with people who really despise Asmongold. Now, it's, how do I put this? It's not wrong to necessarily say, like kind of be against the person. Like it's not like, that's part of, freedom. But if you go to those subreddits, it's just it's censorship. It's what it is. It's not good. And if you actually look at the rules of those type of subreddits, first of all, they're very, you know which political side they lean on, what kind of political agenda they have, and and you can immediately tell. And they're always like very, like, how do I put this, like, be nice, be human. But then you go, for example, circle jerk, which I actually got banned on because I did kind of rage bait them a little bit. What are the rules on Reddit? It's so annoying to get a fucking... Okay, here they are. So the number one rule for r/gaming circle jerk is don't be a dick. And whenever I got banned, which is like I think a week ago, I saw a post, very negative post against a particular person known as Pirate Software. A very negative, like very strongly worded post, including strong relations to genitalia and such things. So a very negative, very dick-like post, and that didn't get banned. In fact, that post got a lot of upvotes. And whenever I wanted, I said anything that was different from their political agenda, they banned me, which is fine in of itself. Now, I also on Reddit got banned, if you can imagine. I mean, I'm getting banned left and right. Bloody hell. I got banned from the game theory subreddit, r/game theory. Now, that's a ban I did not expect. It was not a ban I was really like looking forward to, primarily because I actually enjoy game theory. I mean, like a game, and I enjoy games and lore and stuff like that. Like I watched game theory videos back in the day. It's perfect. But I got banned, and the reason I got banned is because I said, hold on. Basically, I can't find the exact post. I think they locked the thread or something. I can't find my comment. With the reference to here's your comment, you got banned. But basically, what I said is, there was on Game Theory a post saying trans rights are, human rights. And I said, okay, what does this have to do with game theory? Will you please stop pushing your political agenda? And I got permaban for that. And I was like, okay, my comment does not violate any of the rules, which rules, like, it didn't violate any of the rules. Like, I read the rules. Like, I always read the rules of a subreddit, because I know usually subreddits have like a specific rule, which, like, if you can easily break on accident. So, I usually do read the rules actually. And basically, I'm like, well, this doesn't violate any of the rights. And, the friggin' dude, the moderators, like, it does actually, trans rights are human rights. Calling them a political agenda and implying our community isn't a place for it much to be nice and be a thing we have going on, So basically, that's just not true, because I was expressing like freedom of speech, which wasn't like, first of all, hate speech is not even in the Constitution. And another thing is that basically that's just free speech, and free speech is a human right. So by censoring that comment, which did not violate anything really, it wasn't even violating the be nice thing. That's a violation of human rights. So they're accusing me of violating human rights when actually they violated my human rights, which is pretty crazy, right? And that's something I noticed, amongst all of these subreddits, is primarily this very kind of hateful attitude toward freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Now, I recognize this video is about Asmongold, and I've been speaking about stuff not Asmongold for about 8 minutes. But the reason is because I think Asmongold, as an internet personality, is the only person who actually respects free speech, and who is a person who actually kind of has the ability to say, okay, I disagree with you, and just because I disagree with you, I won't call you names, I won't get mad at you. Like, even when whenever, like, people, like, f up, or say something dumb, or like are in a drama situation, or like say something bad about Asmongold, like, he's even nice to Hassan, which is fucking insane. Like, this guy, he is, I don't want to glaze it too much, but as far as people and internet personalities go, I think personally Asmongold is a pretty nice guy. Now, one of his best benefits is that he's actually honest to people. At least I think so, right? His apology video did not go on the worst apology videos of all time list, so at least I think so. But yes, he has said some, crazy things, obviously. But first of all, a lot of those things were sarcasm, and not, he didn't actually mean it. Like, with his teddy bear, and the conveniently placed holes. Like, there's literally a video of him saying that was a joke. Like he thought people would understand that it's actually a joke. So that's one of the things that he has said that a lot of people could actually take seriously. But as far as kind of this whole thing is going, I think there will be a general, like, kind of implosion, because these communities, these people who Asmongold, he's not the problem, or kind of the main thing. It's just a symptom of a deeper issue, because Asmongold is a person who has a huge reach. He's a guy who has a huge influence, and he is a guy that actually respects kind of his opinion, for one, but he doesn't necessarily silence other opinions. There have been many times, I believe, where I have gone on Asmongold subreddit, and I have shared an opinion that is different to his opinion and the general opinion of the people in that subreddit, and never have I gotten a mod letter, or a ban, or a silence. Nothing. The only time you actually get your stuff removed from the subreddit is if you post something like a main post, and that post has low engagement, right? So I think people who, like, hate Asmongold as a person, simply, they don't they hate him not because their hate is valid, but because they just want to hate. They want somebody to say, well, look, this is, he's bad, those kinds of things. And for example, one time I actually saw that Asmongold is how do I put this, free thinking, I guess, is whenever he actually was with the Epstein case, and stuff like that. He was like, "Yo, Trump is fucking up. Trump is doing really not good." So it's not just him blindly being like, "Oh yeah, he's a great guy," and supporting a specific political person, but actually just that person has aligned views with the other person. But I think this kind of silencing on all these subreddits and this kind of infestation of political agendas in areas that have nothing to do with politics is just incredibly infuriating. Like, if I want to speak about video games, talk to people about freaking video game lore, I don't want to be under the eye of whatever political moderators watching. I like that. That's just I understand this is a very Reddit kind of thing, but I've on all social media platforms it exists, like all of them. If you speak to any person, not any person, but if you speak to people online, you will find those types of people everywhere on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, everywhere. You will find these radical left people who silence any kind of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and this kind of and the problem is it's fine when it's in politics, right? I mean, then it's at least a little okay. But whenever you get a post where you're like, oh, whenever you respond to a post in a subreddit, about a game or a movie, and just because that post has something a little negative, towards a specific political agenda, you get banned. And the reason you got banned is partially because your comment contained a slightly negative tone to it, but mainly because you're a part of Asmongold subreddit, which is actually a thing I've seen. Like, the mods, they go and look what part, which subreddits you are part of, and if Asmongold is on that list, you immediately get banned. And they're like, okay, well, if you want to get unbanned, you unfollow his thing, reconsider your views. It's insane, and I think this is a problem that will eventually go away because it's just it's very, how do I put this, negative. It's just negative, and when you have a lot of negativity, what happens? It just ends eventually. Something bad happens. That's why I think, for example, this Pride Month, none of the companies changed their logos immediately, and some of the companies I don't think even did change the logo, to the flag. So I think the political agenda as a whole is ending. It's just kind of coming to a stop now. So yeah, that's basically my kind of opinion on this whole thing. Obviously, I'm not, I've talked a lot about, political agendas, and, you might be like, oh, well, what's his political agenda? The truth is, I really don't have one. I really don't care for it because, either you're on one side or the other, and both sides have pros, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But basically, I just support human rights, right? Humans should have the ability to do things that don't negatively affect others. Like, doing anything that doesn't negatively affect other people is okay in my view. So, for example, if you want to marry, the same gender, it's fine. Who cares? Like, as long as they don't have to see it, it's fine. Or something else, it's okay. But whenever you start peering, luring into other people's lives and affecting other people kind of forcefully, then it kind of becomes a problem. That's what people really don't like, is this kind of pushiness. It's like all of these people, they have rights. It's not like they're going on these walks and doing all this pride nonsense as if as if they're being oppressed somehow, which they're not. I mean, the whole city is literally giving you the most respect by allowing you to do your thing in the street. It's nothing like it. Nobody's and plus these people tolerate opposing views. They don't tolerate them at all. like just zero toleration for opposite opinions. So that's the that's kind of the main problem. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on this whole situation that I've been been watching, because I've personally been affected by it. Mainly I use Reddit because Reddit is a place where people like that, like where all kinds of people get power. Right, it's kind of a ecosystem of humanity. You can see, all kinds of groups and all all these kind of ideologies and everything like that being kind of imprinted on certain groups, and you can very successfully monitor all kinds of like everything basically. I think it's a good reference point for what kind of the general situation in the world is, or how the people kind of are, right? So that's something I've seen myself, and been also kind of affected, seeing other people be affected by the same stuff. And I obviously think it's unfair. And I think Asmongold is just a really good example of that. And also kind of a symptom, right, of a deeper problem. A person like that is actually so controversial whenever he has not said, he doesn't even really say controversial things. Like, I watched this stream, and if like usually he does pull like a viewer up, like a chatter, and like talk with the viewer and like actually try and talk to the person. I've never seen that. Like no streamer actually pulls up a chatter and actually tries to respect that chatter. Like obviously sometimes he bans them, but like only when they like are rude on purpose. When they're like nice and trying to talk and making points that are not just kind of going back and back and forth in a loop, then it's like it's fine, and it's not like about some other topic. It's about political topics, which is not the easiest thing to agree to disagree on, because it's it's stuff like that. So yeah, just for the third time I'm saying this, that's my take on that. Hope you hope I raised some kind of awareness. Maybe, I don't know, probably gonna get like 50 dislikes for this and banned or something, but whatever. Thank you so much for watching. Live long and prosper. Goodbye.